So thank you so much for walking. So thank you so much for walking. What the frick, Jason? Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kyra, and here on this channel, we are all about real makeup for real life and real people. My eye looks very sad. It is. I kind of poked myself in the eye with an eyebrow spoolie trying to separate my lashes that clumped a little bit on this side, and it really hurts now. I think I got myself good. But today is a 4 looks 1 palette with the Natasha Denona Retro Palette. This is one of her midi palettes at the price point of $65 US. You do get 15 shades here, and this is not a new news palette in the beauty community anymore, but I myself am one that's slow to invest in eyeshadow palettes these days. When I take stock of what I've decluttered and what I've gained and what I'm actually using, I'm just trying to be a lot more thoughtful in where I invest in eyeshadows this year. So I wasn't for sure at first if I was going to purchase this one, but I couldn't not. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get into the 4 looks right now, and then I will see you at the end for my final thoughts. All right, so here we are at the end, and I have some thoughts for you after creating 7 or 8 looks overall. I only filmed 4. I did originally pair the retro palette with the mini retro palette. I know a lot of people had some thoughts on how incohesive these two are together, and I definitely would agree with that, but I don't think that was the intention. Sometimes she releases these smaller palettes first, kind of as a preview to a bigger palette that's coming, like this one, and sometimes she'll introduce a bigger palette this size or the large size, and then introduce a mini as sort of an expansion pack, if you will. So for me, when pairing this mini one with the full-size retro here, I thought they paired beautifully. I love being able to add these greens into the mix. These pinks are a little bit more warm and really pair beautifully with the little bit warmer side of the palette. Natasha also did mention that the retro palette is sort of meant to be the retro version of the GLAM palette, sort of an everyday but all-inclusive, all types of looks type of palette, and I can definitely see that. I also feel like these two palettes would pair beautifully together, and I'm very excited to do that. I've done a little bit of that here and there, but not a whole ton. Now, I'm going to put some swatches up on the screen here because there are 3 repeat shades in the retro palette. So if you have the Lila palette, you're going to have 3 duplicate shades in your collection. Those 3 shades are Nude Mauve here in the bottom row, Helio, as well as Amara. And these do swatch similarly, but you will see the Nude Mauve is probably pretty spot on between the 2 palettes. And Helio is definitely a better formula in this palette than the Lila palette, but that stands to reason. It's still the same color, it just, this one has a little bit more thickness. It's a little bit more smooth and a little bit more creamy. And then Amara is pretty similar. I will definitely say the one in the Lila palette for me performs better. I kept feeling like Amara, when I would swatch it in planning out my looks, that I was getting hard pan every time. And that's extremely frustrating to me. And I didn't have that problem and still don't have that problem in the Lila palette, even as old as it is. So again, we have Nude Mauve, Helio, and Amara. So just wanted to quickly point that out. I don't know why she chooses to recycle shades at times. I just think of ColourPop and how they sort of recycle shades over and over and just put them in different orders in different palettes for different themes. And I really don't want to see that happen with Natasha Denona, because I like growing my collection of shadows versus, you know, adding duplicates, of course. I honestly have to say my favorite look was the all matte look. And I do feel like the mattes are the standout shades for me in this palette, specifically the cream to powder mattes, but all of the mattes are beautiful. I love, this is my #1 favorite shade in the palette. It's called Andy, and it's sort of like a smoky orchid purple, which I just love. I could wear that all over the lid and buffed up in the crease and be totally fine with that. Probably my least favorite shade in the palette, and the only one that I don't see myself using with any regularity, is Rebellion, and that is just me and my preferences. It's sort of a reddish shade, and I don't really love that color on my eyes. Amara, which is kind of like a smoky version of Rebellion, is about as far as I will go in the red direction. I find this shade Opart very, very useful. It's sort of a cool tone, grayish brown. It works beautifully for a liner and just deepening up any of the looks you might create with this palette. And then I have worn this shade Go-Go as a creamish or cream to powder blush while using this palette, and I really think that it's beautiful and wanted to maybe, you know, put a bug in your ear about that in terms of Go-Go. Even Rebellion I think would work beautifully. Amara and some of these other shades in here I also think would work beautifully for a blush. I do like the inclusion of Mauve in the palette. It's a really beautiful brow bone highlight or inner corner highlight. I love a matte whitish inner corner, especially for mature eyes. I just find it to be more flattering. In terms of the special shades in here, I really do love Glitz and Psychedelic here, but I also think some of these other shimmers like Jude here is stunning, as well as Helio. You know, these are just gorgeous, 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 gorgeous lid shades. The only shade of the shimmers that just really doesn't trip my trigger, but you did see me use it all over the lid in today's look, is Patty. It's one of her less potent or shiny metallics. I would more call this like a satin shade, but it is pretty. I could see it as an all over one shadow look for sure, and it did, I feel like, look nice underneath the Psychedelic shade that I put all over the lid on top of it. So those are my thoughts. Of course, I can't tell you whether you should buy this palette or not. You will have to make that decision, but hopefully I've given you enough information today to sort of weigh out what things you're looking for in this palette or in this color story. So let us know down in the comments. Do you have this? Are you looking at purchasing it? Do you not want it at all? Not your color story? What was your favorite look that I created in today's video? I hope if you found this video helpful or entertaining in some way that you will go ahead and subscribe, and I can see you in the next video, as well as turn on those bell notifications. YouTube can be pesky, and if you don't turn them on, you won't be notified of my future videos. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days, and I will see you in my next video soon.